Broadcasting live from the backstretch at Saratoga, this is the Handicappers Report. Brought to you by CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier online wagering site in New York State. CapitalOTBBet.com. Sign up today. And the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. Make it to the Clubhouse Racebook.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Handicappers Report alongside Seth Merrow. I'm Anthony Mormino as we kick off, I don't know, week 2, 3, or 4. We'll pick any number you like works for me. But
over the last 3 weeks, over the last week in particular, I have heard so many times, I don't know, opening day 3 or take it 1, 2, 3. Everybody over there is like, yeah, okay, it's opening week, but is it opening week?
And I'm telling you, and I know this is nuanced down to about 3 people, which I'm one of them. It's like, go to Equibase and try and find the results. They're not under the same heading. Saratoga, Belmont at Saratoga, July 4th, Saratoga. It's like, make it easy for the people. But I've said it before. I mean, the clerical work doesn't matter to me. The Belmont Stakes ones did seem to be sort of independent, but the July 4th one, when we didn't race anywhere except here, that seems to be the start. So I'm comfortable with, this really being the start of week 3.
That sounds fair.
I know according to probably the books and attendance and everything, it's the start of week 2. It's a very pleasant morning. I don't know what the weather forecast is completely for up here. I know that down in the Capital District, the term I saw on the television was oppressive. So I figure that means the humidity is going to be.
It's starting to feel like we're heading in that direction.
So, but
really,
right now,
it has been the last few days, actually.
What's that?
Oppressive.
Okay, yes. And I've said this many times before, and this is a perfect example. Let's run the races now. I mean, now is so pleasant in the morning, but apparently, you get humidity. Who knows about storms? But Seth, I was thinking. I actually always think of you with. So we had 5 off the turfers the other day. 2 of them, the MTOs won. Now you will not get that classification anywhere, but I can give you the list at the end. How many MTOs won off the turf races? What are we up to now? I have 13 races.
From what I read the other, I think it was a Granny article, maybe that's right.
Now, this is something that I'm guilty of. My off-the-turf races, I'm keeping the stats starting on July 10th. But my people's records, the trainers and jockeys, I'm going to be wrong the whole beat because I'm starting from July 3rd. Because I think in the official ones, I guess Irad jumped in front of his brother, maybe by 1.
By 1.
Yeah, so there might be times when I quote a number that won't jive, and that's because I'm counting from July 3rd. My off-the-turf races, I'm counting from July 10th. I was also thinking, I don't know if we had any off-the-turf races in the July 4th one. I looked that back up, but it might not be relevant.
Yeah, I don't
but
remember
we have had 13 off the turf races. So what? We ran 4 days. So that's three a day.
Yeah.
3 a day. So, Father Time and Mother Nature, they're both undefeated.
And people looking at the numbers, which were reflective of that, and that social media being what it is, it's like Chicken Little. And it's like, folks, it's weather dependent. And when you lose that many turf races, the betting numbers are going to change. Grenig's article compared to last year, and it was, early on very different as far as races coming off the turf. But that clear, you get halfway into the meet, but more importantly, get to the end of the meet, then you can look back and really make some decisions. But that all may be affected by weather as well. We'll keep our fingers crossed that, I always say, it moderates over time, seems to temperature and rain and whatnot. And it's been so rainy up to this point. But, we hope it does moderate out, and we're good the rest of the way. But we'll see how it plays out.
I suspect next year, if we're up 30% versus this year, we'll know about it.
Yeah, and that's, and again, that's
It all comes,
just
and I've said
reflective
this,
of the weather.
as far as I could tell, and I am 62 years old now. There's only one panacea I've ever come across, Seth, in all of life, and that is field size and horse racing.
Yeah,
it's the only thing that is the answer.
And that's typically what makes turf racing so much fun and bettable. You tend to get bigger fields.
Yes, and that's what it's really about. It's about if
people don't remember, but I have had people ask me over the past couple of weeks, people who don't come up here that often, didn't people used to be able to go into the infield? And I said yes.
1982
I said
was
yes,
the last time,
but they had to put a wood path across the turf course, and so on the weekend they would do away with turf racing. That's how different it is now.
Brian Nadeau, who is as sharp as they come, who does what we did, didn't believe me, and our hardworking guys behind the camera found my guess would be the 82 Travers, and as they come in the stretch, he could see the board. He's like, and that's how minuscule turf racing was. Nobody cared. There was no outrage of, oh my goodness, we have no turf racing this weekend.
And people don't remember. People do not remember. Tampa didn't always have a turf course. You think of Tampa now without turf, and it's hard to believe.
And when you say used to not, I think like 99, right?
That sounds right.
I mean, not like, you see, the infield, except for special days, like Secretariats, Whitney, etc., except for special days, was open. And this is one of the things where I hit a home run as an individual, 76 to 82. Well, I was 13 to 19 during those years, and it was spectacular. And I can vividly recall coming up in 83, and I'm like, what do you mean we can't go to the infield?
Yeah.
It was all over. They had there were betting windows on the opposite side of the old mutual boards. Yep. If you ever see an old race like the 82 Travers, when they run up the backside, you'll see a yellow and white tent. That was first aid. The gazebo used to be able to go sit in, and they left the picnic tables up, I would guess, Seth, for at least 5, maybe 10 years. They left the picnic tables in the infield before they finally went and got them all out. But the infield's been closed. The last one was there's actually, I don't think it's a famous picture, but there's a picture of Conquistador Cielo getting beat, and you can see the people on the infield as runaway groom runs over Aloma's ruler. And then the infield used to be open. Well, yes, there used to be full service gas stations too. I'm like, yes. That's a long time though. That's another thing. You would have,
but that's the notable thing about it. They couldn't have turf racing, and it's hard to even. And the
discussion became about the tunnel. Now we're going to have a tunnel at the new Belmont, but that was always the thing. Well, we'll build the tunnel. It never came to fruition. It never really gathered momentum. But I was just thinking, you would need to be about 52 years of age.
Yeah, that's about.
To really say, I remember the infield.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I always thought was a great deal. I've had the pleasure of, I never sat in the turf terrace with any regularity until I met Denise, the wife. But I have to tell you, this little area in here, this first turn, there's a lot of space there. I've always thought it's like some of the most beautiful parts of America, that little part. I used to have this idea of happy hour there at the track. I think it would be, I wanted twilight racing on Fridays and happy hour.
I'm with you on that. The old twilight used to be fun.
Tremendous.
Pushback from downtown, I think, helped to.
Yeah, but now we're running to 7:15.
Yeah.
So I don't know where the pushback would work. And I remember the first one they had. I had a close friend. He said, "This should be," because because obviously I'm the West Coast bias guy, and Del Mar pushes their post time back 2 hours on like the first 5 Fridays. But I was like always clamoring. And then I even thought they didn't even do it right. They did it at the end of the meet. And the two things that I thought made that a worse idea than my idea was, even we get tired at the end of the meet. Our bankroll for a large percentage gets tired. And the sun sets
They
about a
were
half
flirting
hour
with-
earlier.
yeah.
I was like, the first Friday of the meet, I thought would be gangbusters. It would be so bright out. Everybody would be fresh. We wouldn't have too many bad beach
And
stories.
It's popular down at Churchill when they do their nighttime cards. They pick some select nights and they do it. And it was popular up here too.
was very
But
popular.
more importantly, it brought in a
Young
whole
people.
it brought in a whole new clientele.
I don't know the exact number, but I think the first one they had, the attendance, this will be a staggering thing, but I think I'm right, was up 40%.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
And
Like
you're
I said, it was
absolutely right.
popular.
Young people coming up out of work, etc. And I thought that was a rough one because it was Labor Day weekend. People are going to make other plans, but it's beautiful right now. That's the bottom line. You want to do the business?
This guy's a little dicey.
Yeah,
we got to watch him head over here.
No.
There's a horse. Now he's on his way.
He got.
There was a horse that they were having a little trouble getting going in the right.
Wasn't
now,
accepting
in
his
the right
assignment
direction.
that
Yeah.
easily.
Oh, how about the horse the other day that would not move?
That's
Favorite. And it's a tough decision, I think, for the stewards. But
And when
I
it came
would,
down,
I
when
would-
they scratched him, it was like
I would be all for that one. But they had a horse the other day that just froze on the front. They were pulling, and Outriders came over.
you remember Quality Road before the Breeders' Cup Classic?
No. Same thing? Oh,
And
I
they're
do
like,
remember that.
Come
Wasn't
on,
that behind
It-
the gate?
and it's getting dark in
Yeah.
Santa Anita.
Yeah.
It's like
This one, this horse was over right in front of the grandstand. The race was starting back. But you're right. I remember that behind the gate. And I wanted to touch on one other thing from
before we get to the DePaul play.
the other day. Governor Sam looked great, but had Dan Collins on last week from Bonaventure, and in that race, the other Weaver trained Governor Sam, but he also trained the runner-up for Bonaventure, Ortley Avenue. I thought Ortley Avenue in the
Ran
third
well.
career start. I thought
And
it was great. Dan, I saw afterwards, and he was very happy, and I couldn't blame him because Governor Sam, clearly a monster.
He
and
was-
run a good second to that one.
Wow.
Yeah.
He was to win a turf sprint by that type of daylight that easily. It was turf course was rated as good, but that was I looked up, I was like, no, I don't think we really have any chance against Governor Sam.
Yeah.
Want to do the business before the play of the day?
I will hit. Pick three. The pick
Yes,
three
do
bankroll. I hit a small one to begin with.
Well, that had to be
And-
the early ones. That were the chalks. Okay.
And I could have hit later. I
was
had
gonna say,
two
didn't
that
you like
overlap.
the Mark Henning runner in the last? The
I
horse that was 140 to 1, not really, was 14 to 1.
I should have played maybe 7, 8, 9. I would have hit that,
Okay.
which was okay.
Yeah.
The couple of, and I had two that overlapped, and that was maybe a mistake. Although I liked the sixth race, and that's where I got knocked out. Otherwise, I could have. So that was a little bit of my fault, maybe just structuring, and we're doing it every other weekend. We'll try to. So everybody on the team got a little bit of money, but
so you'll be back at it the 27th.
yeah.
All right.
So it's again every other week. But coming up this week, Capital OTB down at the Clubhouse Racebook, the prize wheel. People randomly selected throughout the afternoon down at the Racebook. Spin the prize wheel. You get vouchers and merchandise, and I believe a voucher to Black Bear, perhaps. That is typically on there, but we'll see what's on today. If you stop by Clubhouse Racebook this afternoon, 711 Central Avenue in Albany, same place for the Play the Board contest tomorrow, so keep that in mind as well at the Clubhouse Racebook. Friday, $100 win-a-bet at the Clubhouse Racebook, and also Delmar opening day.
What?
You gonna have a play of the day every Delmar day? Okay, so people can
Because
look.
Delmar runs one fewer day than us, so it's never like extra work. They don't run on Wednesday typically, but yes, we will be back at Delmar.
Every time I see Dr. Venkman, I think that was a
Yeah,
good call.
one.
Was that opening day a couple years ago?
A couple years ago, he on debut, he wins, and for those, not my part, but obviously Ghostbusters, and then he won the San Diego Handicap in his future. But yes, his career
Like the
day.
debut was
I
like
think
a
he paid like
$30 winner.
no.
I was
No,
going to say it was 14.
No, I'm
Because he just
pretty
ran the
sure
other day.
he was. I'm pretty sure he was a $10 winner on debut. Honestly, that year I had a horse named Mr. Disrespectful, who was my $30 winner, who won like a 3 to 10 shot. But I think Dr. Venkman was 4-1 on debut.
All right, I thought.
I wish. I'd like to say I
wish.
wish he had paid $30, but I don't think that he did.
Right.
But thank you for remembering.
So Del Mar opens on Friday, Saturday. The Bounty Bet returns. Don't forget Late Pick 5 at Saratoga. Just play with your Capital OTB Bet account. King of the Hill contest back at it at the Clubhouse Racebook, and on Sunday at the Racebook a knockout challenge. So again, all of that coming up right here at Capital OTB. You can always check out the promotions and events also on capitalotb.com.
Before we get to the Paul play day, any more whispers about the low roller?
No, but if it's happening, it will. From what I heard, we're maybe a week and a half away. I heard, again, whispers not confirmed, but it could come back on the 27th.
Okay.
So we'll keep that. Oh, before we go to the Paul play day,
yes.
Happy birthday,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Mormino. So
I never thought, you grow up with the meet basically being August. You never think, but my birthday is completely safe. And then I happen to have met for the first time David O'Rourke. Had to be January of 2020, so the world is normal, and opening day is scheduled for July 16th, so it's going to be the first time that I could do the math, but I think it was like the first time they're going to run like on my birthday, as we were expanding the meet. And then obviously the world changed, so we still ran, but there was nobody here. But no, this is
that would be, you bring back memories.
So next year is supposed to be opening day, July 16th.
Because we went out to cover, there were 2 years where we went out and covered the NHC, and that was one of the years. And
so it's still normal.
But the word was coming out over in Asia. There was something brewing.
Oh, yeah. We used to talk about it at work all the time.
So we're, kind of checking in and walking around the area, and there's like a whole Japanese tourist group. Kind of. So that was weird. And then that is just a memorable. As the media, I got to come in, but it was strange,
eerie to see if you never had the chance to park on the grounds, but to see it to be all grass. At the end, which is usually not grass after day 5, but it was. I know. Trust me, we had the easiest part of how much it changed, but you could only come in one entrance, get your thing, and go. So
very different.
Heavily. So now we'll go for the Paula play of the day as we kick off. I'll give in week 2.
And they're off. Chevrolet, Mazda, and Ford right now at the DePaula Auto Group. Take off the savings you need on the vehicle that you want. New cars, trucks, SUVs, hybrids, and all electric. Delivered with DePaula savings. And the DePaula Auto Group has hundreds of pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs. Remember, DePaula can service any make and model and has over 100 service bays. So buy DePaula. Think DePaula for all of your automotive needs. DePaula Auto Group. Chevrolet, Mazda, Ford, and pre-owned. DePaula.com.
Hey everybody, Steve Bick back with you for the Capital OTB DePaula play of the day to start the second race week. We're going to go to the 8th race, and of course on Sunday we got beat. Jet Sweep Joe got whacked around by the gate coming out and pretty much put him on his heels. So let's snap back with the 4-horse in the 8th race, Systemic Change. This is a horse that Steve Asmussen not only trains but owns. Claimed for $16,000 back in December last year. And the race that he won at Oaklawn in April, that would play very well here. Certainly does not hurt that Arad Ortiz sees fit to ride, as they say. We're going 1 1/8 in this starter allowance. And at 8-1, Systemic Change is the DePaula play of the day. There is plenty of pace, and Irad gets on board, as mentioned, very good, actually, when Asmussen calls on him. 8-1, the 4-horse in the 8th race, your DePaula play of the day. Let's get lucky. Talk to you tomorrow.
And they're off. Chevrolet, Mazda, and Ford right now at the DePaula Auto Group. Take off the savings you need on the vehicle that you want. New cars, trucks, SUVs, hybrids, and all electric. Delivered with DePaula savings. And the DePaula Auto Group has hundreds of pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs. Remember, DePaula can service any make and model and has over 100 service bays. So buy DePaula. Think DePaula for all of your automotive needs. DePaula Auto Group. Chevrolet, Mazda, Ford, and pre-owned. DePaula.com.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from Clare Court on the backstretch of beautiful Saratoga Race Course. Very pleasant Wednesday morning. This might be the hour of pleasantries if it keeps going up and up and up. As I said, I don't know how my man survives. The difference between 9 to 10 and 10 to 11, and he does both of them, is sometimes about 9:45, I start going, whew, nice. You don't like to hear. It's a couple things you don't like to hear on the set. Skid marks is one.
He drove over a cone, but what's the cone doing there?
Well, because they don't want him going through. That's where they're set
but
up.
Then why didn't he say something? There's somebody standing right.
Anarchy.
Oh, and now he just moved the cone to let the guy through.
Yeah, puts the cone back.
And the cone's back.
You don't want to hear cars hitting the brake.
Even a better question is, how did the guy going 10 miles an hour and not see
to
the
cone? Lots of questions here at 10:20, 9:20 in the morning. You hope he's not day drinking. You know, you're into it.
And let me just, I didn't do it before. Coming up at 10 o'clock today, one of your favorite guys in the game, Craig Milkowski from Time Form. There was a nice remembrance of life, celebration of life last night at the museum for Chuck Simon. And I saw Craig there, and so I said, hey, let's get you over for a little TV. So Craig Milkowski will join us. Also, Joe Clancy from the Saratoga Special. And Bill Gallo, we kick off the steeplechase season. Now, there was the race at the meet earlier, but we kick off the traditional meet steeplechase today with the Kaiser Memorial. So Bill Gallo from the National Steeplechase Association. Also, all of that top of the hour racing across America.
I met Craig and his wife at Santa Anita Breeders' Cup a couple of years ago. We talked because one of his things is one of my Nikita Khrushchev banging the shoe on the thing, which is timing of races. And he's the best. He's the industry standard. And why he isn't used by everybody, it's not my business, but I met him and his wife. And since they made this public knowledge, I say it, it's like Craig will be one of the people on the escalator to heaven because he gave up a body part for a human being. And right. Those people go,
you're
right to heaven
for,
doing an incredible.
He came up and spoke for a moment about Chuck last night, and the MC was Steve Bick, and Steve kind of was introducing him and said he is, and it's probably true, he's kind of the modern day Andy Byer with the whole speed figure thing.
Yeah,
I doing the time form side of it.
Yep, absolutely. And I say this, I one of my favorite things. I know people. The negativity on social media doesn't matter to me. I'm a grown person. But I remember one time, this was years ago, I found an old race where Chuck was the winning trainer up here. Ken and Sarah Ramsey horse, Orleans Road, maybe, I don't know. But I used my phone. I taped the VHS tape, so Seth, as a former producer, can just feel the quality. And I posted it, and Chuck was so nice. He goes, Anthony, those are as valuable as the Dead Sea Scrolls. And I said, I agree. So and I have to say also, I feel horrible because I would have gone, I feel about 2 inches tall now because I would have gone out of my way. I feel terrible not attending.
There are a couple of people I've told over the last few hours that I don't think were aware.
I don't
necessarily.
But
his dad got up at one point and gave a stat for Chuck that I found incredible. He said that one of the managers at Kentucky Downs called and said, Chuck has a pretty good record. He started 7 stakes runners at Kentucky Downs, won 4, and finished second 3 times.
Wow. And I'll tell you one thing on one of the sharpest minds attached to a mouthpiece.
Oh, that was a theme last night too.
He had a lot to say, but it came from a brilliant reservoir, and you can tell when he spoke, it didn't come from an axe to grind or anything. It was, he laid it out. He had inside, he had certain types of information that I wouldn't have, but it never was like an axe to grind. It was like, this is it. And he's missed,
and
obviously.
If folks that don't know Chuck, local product, the Saratoga product, went on to become a trainer and then eventually blog and had a podcast that was kind of popular, but also Cherie DeVoe was an assistant to him for a long time. She got up and spoke and gave a lot of credit for her career to
She
Chuck.
did at the Breeders' Cup when she won.
Yeah, exactly. That was mentioned last
Very
night
classic.
as well. But yeah, so Chuck will be missed. Passed away last fall, so it was a nice event last night.
In the opener, the Jonathan Kaiser Memorial.
8, 9, 7, and 1 for me. The 8 and the 9 are just logical here, coming off of a win down at Percy Warner. That's the jump meet down in Nashville in May. China Beach got the victory, and that was the third straight victory going back to the end of last year. Bernie Dalton on board for wife Kate Dalton continues that team this afternoon. I think this one looks logical, again, off of that streak. Blue Creek ran second there. So off of that, and before that ran a win. They're both coming in good form and make a lot of sense off of that race at Nashville. And Lavocado in the third spot was also down at Percy Warner, albeit in a different race, but ran an okay third. Evie's Prince, I think, could be a little bit interesting as well, coming out of the Steinman, a close-up second here. And I always say that counts a little more maybe, because typically these jump meets are over, varied types of courses. So when jump horses win over an actual racetrack setting, I'll give them a little more. So maybe Evie's Prince is a little lower rated than deserved. Than I thought. So 8, 9, 7, and 1.
Seth just doling out that steeplechase info. 185 from me.
But at least you made picks. I step up. There are handicappers that don't make picks, and it's like it's not that big of a puzzle. I mean, I go across the street and I handicap the harness, and when there was dog racing, I would handicap. It's all the same kind of a scenario. So take a pop at.
I don't have any clips vote, but I would not abstain from steeplechase.
No.
The only time I would abstain, and this happened about 20 years ago, I didn't have a vote. But the 3-year-old filly, I won't mention the filly that won the championship, but I had advocated all that autumn on the network. No champion this year. I would only abstain if I thought there was no. But if you have a vote, you got to follow. I'm a public handicapper. You got to make a pick.
Yeah.
I look at it the best I can, and I give you 185. And Seth was, pushing my one, so I feel better.
I like the steeplechase, and as
I know
we'll have Bill Gallo on today talking a little bit about the season. And Colonial this year, I think it's every Thursday. They have 3 jump races to start their
for
card.
1.
But yeah, the weather got them the other day. But they start at 10:45, so they kind of make it separate from or they start the flat card when it would normally start. Yeah.
And I will say this: my bitterness around steeplechasing is steeped in one thing. Fridays, 9-race card, 2 jumps. It drove me crazy because Friday, I was a young guy, a bachelor. It was a big day. Come up here, I had 2 races I had to pass on.
Yeah, somebody asked me the other day, I think it was one of the ushers. They were talking about
not the usher, an usher.
They were talking about exactly. I don't know the usher. But they were talking about, there's 12 this day and 11 this day. And then they looked at me and they said, didn't it used to be 9?
Yes, and there's 9 today.
Yes, it
and
did.
Seth said, yes, there used to be, and there will be on Wednesday.
But I then went over the betting menu, which won't be today. I went, there's double, 3 Quinellas, Exactas, 3, 6, 9, triple in the ninth.
Can you guess what year the 9-race card became the norm? You can't, so don't bother.
No,
1959.
Okay. Second race this afternoon, maiden specials, $100,000 up for grabs. They're going to go a quick 5.5 on the grass.
And this is where we had those New York breds the other day. We were talking. So the New York's run for 90. You run for 100. You chase Open Company for $6,000 win purse. All right, you're in the same ballpark. 3-6-2 for me. I kind of the closer now. I'm more anecdotal with Stallions. I'm very intrigued by Bolt D'Oro, who I think kind of disappointed after about his 3rd career start. But as a stallion, I'm sort of intrigued about the runners he's throwing. And I have to tell you, I quickness and things like that, I'm actually surprised they're shortening up from 7 to 5.5 for the turf debut, but the bottom side has got to be turf, right? I remember that horse at Australian. So I'm with the closer, number 3 on top. Seth has of a third, but I think I'm going to receive, even though it's Bill Mott, I think I'm going to receive a good price in here. Seth's top pick is.
You remember the Dam or the Dam Sire? I remember the Dam Sire.
The Dam Sire,
yeah.
And Beer Run, who is my second choice, one start since August 21st. They add blinkers today. Probably, I think it's fair to say he's going to have some giddy up. I do think the race runs through it. For third, Whit Beckman sends out the 2 with Irad aboard. One start since September, but I like that race. My one fear is it's right in that borderline, Seth, for me about muscle regression. 2-3 weeks after a big race, I'm expecting regression. He's at a month, so the recovery time might be real good, but I'm intrigued about the move forward, getting Irad 3-6-2 in the second.
6, 7, 3, and 8. I will put Beer Run on top. I have the same concerns you have in that you look down and there's just layoff line. The horse can't string 2 together. That to me is not a good sign necessarily, but the horse typically runs well. That doesn't get it done to the winner's circle, obviously, being a maiden after 8 starts, but runs well and with numbers that match up well with this group. Also being Wesley Ward, Jose Ortiz on board, that attracted me. They had the blinkers today. I thought that was intriguing. And then I'll go for the Wesley Ward Exacta. Don't worry about nothing. First time gelding symbol, tries the turf after a debut effort at Keeneland that was okay. I thought was a foundation to build on. And being, again, a Wesley Ward runner, sprinting on the turf as a maiden youngster is always intriguing. And then I did use the closer. A little bit interested that they're trying the turf now after a dirt race that last time was okay. So that's a little bit intriguing, but it's Bill Mott. So I would think this will be a move that will live up to the intrigue in the second at Saratoga. 6, 7, 3, and 8.
And 2 thoughts before we go for break for me. In this race, that to me, Beer Run's buyers tower over the field, which makes 5-2 quite attractive.
Except for those layoff lines, and it's the second
but
most
when he comes off
experienced horse.
But when he
field.
comes off the layoff, he runs. So my point is, when he does eventually show up for the dance, he performs. The other is, I don't think either of us touched on it, but boy, I have to tell you, number 5, the Irrelevant. Boy, those are solid workouts from a sharp trainer, all puns intended. And Arch is a turf influence sire for me. So I think it's an interesting race. We'll go to a quick break. When we come back, more on a 9-race card Wednesday.
For more than 4 generations, Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued the 103-year tradition of delighting their local following and faithful summer crowd with the finest authentic Italian recipes. Classic Italian dishes made with the freshest ingredients, served in a home-like setting. Some things have changed in the last 103 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
The only thing better than watching the races is watching your own racehorse. With nearly 20 years experience in the racing industry, Bonaventure Stables' share-based ownership program enables everyday fans to become part owner of a thoroughbred for far less than you might think, with all the ownership perks at Saratoga, Belmont, Aqueduct, and other great tracks. Experience the thrill and lifestyle of owning your own thoroughbred racehorse. Learn more at bonaventurestables.com.
Want to get your career in horse racing off to a fast start? Well, the University of Arizona's Racetrack Industry Program is your winning ticket. The Racetrack Industry Program has served as a springboard to some of the industry's most successful individuals, with a proven track record of job placement right out of college. If you want to earn a degree in the exciting horse racing industry, the Racetrack Industry Program can put you in the winner's circle.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Got a pick 4 starting in race number 3. Claimers going 6.
2, 3, 1, and 4. 3 Bs on top for me. Linda Rice, Jose Ortiz. Last race was a little bit of a clunk, but it was A on the turf, B against state bred allowance runners. I talk about it a lot. This horse doesn't have enough of a record that I'm really jumping on that angle, but I love state bred allowance moves into open claiming company. I think for me, that's been a potent move over the years. And as I say, normally I like a little more of a line of those allowance races. But all of that said, the race before was a state bred optional claimer. Non-winners are one. 4 starts back the same. In between those two, the horse did move into open claiming company and rolled. So I think the class move maybe works again here this afternoon. Aerostar in the second spot. Jose D'Angelo, runner coming in off a couple of second-place finishes, most recently Gulfstream and Tampa, most recently being March and April. So there's a little bit of a layoff, but I think it's going to be a square fit with this bunch. And then Miles and Miles. Brad Cox, first off the claim. I never like it when they claim and drop like this, but Brad Cox is very good off the claim. It's a Michael Dubb claim. I would think, with that combination will be well meant up here. And maybe that's the point, get their win and put
Don't
some
you
money
typically
in the bank.
loosen your claiming rules up here?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, there's no question about it. In the third, 2, 3, 1, and 4.
I don't have much to add. I like 3Bs pretty good in here. 2, 1, 3. I will say this. I noticed the 4 coming out of the Mike Lee. Is there a report about Train the Trainer going to the Albany and trying to win the apparently non-existent Big Apple Triple?
I keep saying I missed the Big Apple Triple, but I haven't heard. But I would assume.
I mean, that was
yeah.
a nice race, and etc. But 2, 1, 3 to me, and I don't know if I said it, but the race is restricted to 3-year-olds. It's not,
And Train the Trainer won the New York Derby the other day up at the Finger Lakes, one of their big days.
So he has 2 legs down.
Yeah. Fourth race at Saratoga this afternoon. State bred maiden specials, as you say, they're going to vie for $90K, and they will go 9 furlongs.
4-2-7 for me, and I Seth doesn't even have it on the mix, but I have to tell you, Kaz Oil. I said this. I like this horse very much in this spot. I like the debut at 8-1 and coming back and getting Irad today. I think there's just a real possibility to run to have a market improvement, and I don't think the IRAD tax is going to be applicable in this race because there are buyer speed figures by the 5 that just dominate this race. But the problem that I have with the 5 is my rule of thumb is I compartmentalize off track going. So to me, Iron Dome has a race at one of his favorite tracks going 2 turns. That's the Mount Everest for me. I think that Kaz Oil Changer, with a slight improvement, he's going to be about 8-1, I think, or better. Undisputed, I have for second. I like the race 2 races back. Now, that's a 1-turn race, so I have to, climb that hurdle. And then Solo Dancing, another one that I just thought Mark Henning won the finale on Sunday and off the turfer. And I think that first race was just practice and a pretty good internal fractions for practice that this guy figured it out late, picked up some of the pieces. The race goes through the 5. I'm just expecting, I guess, this is how I see Iron Dome's race being more like his second career start, which puts him in the mix with everybody. So, but you have him on top, and that's reasonable.
Yeah, I on those numbers, I couldn't get by him. 5, 3, 2, and 4. As you say, even if you do, and I think a lot of people do wonder about off-track numbers, but the race just before was comparable on a dry track down at Oaklawn. Moved in against state breds last time, was racing at Oaklawn. They had the confidence to try a New York bred down there against Open Company and showed nice improvement in the first 3 starts, then comes to New York and goes off as a short price. Now, I don't remember who the other half of the entry was, but I would expect off those Oaklawn races, this horse was taking plenty of the action that made that entry favorite that day. So I'll give this one another shot on a dry track with the numbers. That said, the numbers for Hello Beauty, the 3, are comparable, but they're on turf. So are we going to get that same scenario on dirt.
Who gets an awful turf number?
Well,
No one gets a 23 on the turf.
But what about like at Penn National on the turf?
Well, they run 4 races a year on the turf, and 2 of them are stakes races.
Well, they run other turf
I'm
races
kidding,
down
of course.
there, so
They always run them early though, because there's no lights on the turf course.
Yeah. And so I would be interested to see there. But regardless, I'm going to put Hello Beauty in the mix, but there is that caveat. Undisputed has a couple of numbers that are comparable to Iron Dome over the last couple of races. I put Kaz Oil Changer down in the 4th spot. Speaking of Penn National, this horse based down there, but as a New York bred, comes and takes the shot for $90K. And Irad Ortiz on board is not going to hurt. You mentioned the Irad tax. He's already come through with a few prices at this meet, which have been surprising, giving him.
You know, I won't say you have to pay attention daily. I'll say you can be benefited by paying attention daily. As I said the other day, Chad Brown has won 10 Dianas. 7 of them have not been the favorite. And I think of the 7, 5 have been double-digit prices. So you pay attention daily. You know, you find an acorn every once in a while. We'll be right back.
It only takes one upset to make history, and now you can be part of Saratoga's long tradition at the Dark Horse Mercantile. The Dark Horse Mercantile offers a carefully curated selection of clothing, gifts, and home decor, from one-of-a-kind vintage racing memorabilia to select brands like Barber and Under Armour, as well as exclusive Dark Horse branded merchandise. So celebrate the Dark Horse in all of us at the Dark Horse Mercantile, downtown Saratoga, where the smart bet is always the Dark Horse.
A day at the track isn't complete without a night at the Horseshoe. Great food, hot music, and cold drinks. So why go downtown when all the action's just across from the track? The Horseshoe Inn at the corner of Nelson and Gridley.
You like free money? Well, Capital OTB gives its players plenty of opportunities to cash in. At Capital OTB, there are so many ways for horse players to receive bonus dollars by simply participating in promotions such as our bankrolls, bounty bets, online handicapping contests, and much, much more. Plus, with Capital OTB's Player Rewards program, you get actual cash back. So what are you waiting for? Log on today at CapitalOTB.com or CapitalOTBBet.com and claim your free money.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Oops, my bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
Welcome back. Race number 5, state bred 2-year-olds, maiden special weights. Dashing 5.5, no problem at the entry box for this one.
11, 2, 10, and 8. If the 11 doesn't get in, take a little look at the 7. You didn't want
Adam Rice coming in and upsetting your apple cart.
Well, I looked up the stats over the last 5 years. He's had 4 starts, 3 wins, and a third, and those were with just 2 horses.
I was gonna say, and I don't think Monster B is outside of that window.
Might be, yeah, because that wasn't one of the names.
Yeah.
That wasn't, yeah. So again, when Adam Rice comes, he comes with intent. There is a sibling called Skippy Town, 3rd in debut, then 6th and 7th, but 1 in the 4th start. I consider that kind of win early. Honest Mischief is becoming a little bit interesting as a sire. And as I said, the last 5 years, 4 starts with 3 wins. They were all on turf. The lone 3rd place finish was an off the turf race. So I'm going to go with the stat there. If the horse gets in, interesting, picks up Irad Ortiz. Illmatic in the 2nd spot, Miguel Clement trainee with some breeding. Again, Honest Mischief, who's become a little bit interesting as a sire. Sibling from the Dam, Where's Dominic won the career debut. Bear Path won the career debut. So there was some win early there. And then in the 3rd spot, Rob Falcone, who I have to tip. I said I'd tip my cap to him. Was it Sunday? It might have been Sunday. He gave me a ride. I'm always
there's a list, folks.
I'm always thumbs up on the neighborly people.
I'm just going to advise you: if you see Seth Merrow walking from here to there, and you have a cart with space in it, I stop.
And because the blacklist is even more important. And the other day,
it's hard to get off the blacklist.
Yeah, when the humidity, I had 2 people pass, and I got a picture of one of them. But I can't figure out how somebody with like 3 empty seats just drives by people.
If you pass them twice, it goes viral. That's it. You get 1 free pass viral. It's just internal. But 2, you're gonna be shamed.
But I said to Falcone, I'll give you a little shout out for giving me a ride. And so the Falcone runner, another one with some win early breeding. Arden's Assault, the sibling, 3rd in debut, won the 2nd start. And I really like Cantheros, have for a few years as a sire of win early types. In the 5th, 11, 2, 10, and 8.
I know you're a huge, as a Syracuse alum, you're a huge college basketball fan. I'm gonna guess you're not a big college football fan. I presume this is named after the head coach of Oregon, Cristobal.
Okay.
Okay. Which is my top pick. And you said the Cantheros. I'm on the outside of the main body. I'm wondering if Spirit of New York, Seth's top pick, if this is a competitive edge. Nobody scratch. Don't let him in. He could be heck to pay. But Cristobal is my top pick. Oregon or Miami, I forget now. The Cantheros angle. Super Dave and offspring of Tiz the Law for Wesley Ward. And then Whammo, Mike Maker's offspring of Yaupon, 10-3-7.
That one scares me, the number 7,
yes,
being by Yaupon. And Yaupon this year, 11 first-time starters, 4 wins, couple seconds, and a third, off to a good start. But the siblings, they weren't particularly win early. So I put that one down my 5th spot. If they're
I wonder how many of them was sired by a horse like a Yaupon, if you don't remember, was a very fast Steve Asmussen runner a couple years ago.
6th race this afternoon. We're on the grass at 8.5 furlongs for conditional claimers.
I think the race goes through the 8, and you have to get through the 5 for me. So we just have them reversed, which is almost a sign of how we look at racing. George Weaver, who's having a very nice start to the meet, stays at the same level after a good effort on May 24th. I draw a good post position, take my chances for a big upset. I would be, I've said this a long time, and Langford doesn't show up very often. Now, this is a horse that won the Forgo, the Carter, and the Met Mile. But to me, he's a strong turf influence on the bottom side. So higher force making the turf debut. Sassy Princess making the 3rd start of the cycle. Drops down precipitously from 82L to 35-2L. The race goes through her. And then from the hedge, Temple City Taboo, as I shouldn't say the hedge. They're reporting that the rails will be at 18 feet. Just a quick note, usually the start of a new week is when I'm dialed into. The rails usually, in California, they change them during the week, which I despise. Here, we don't typically do that.
Yeah, we had Glenn Kozak in the other day.
I
and
saw
he said
that.
The rails move kind of on a calendar schedule, and then big days.
I want a different.
For me, it's 8, 5, 10, and 7. As you say, the 8. I went back and forth because the 5 is so attractive at the price. Has some early speed, and I debated, but in the end, I just thought, I don't know. The 8 just looks to have the edge in here. Goes out for our friends at America's Pastime Racing and Company, local partnership, 3rd start back off some good tries and gets some class relief. So I'll tilt in that direction, but higher force tried this company last time and ran a good 2nd. So why not right in the thick of things again today? And Silent Melody in the 3rd spot, also coming off a try at this company last time. Played that day with the group. Should play again with this group again this afternoon with Flavian Prat on board in the 6th. 8, 5, 10, and 7.
To me, before we go to break, it might not be a very sexy race, but this kind of race for horizontal players intrigues me. How many eggs can you push in with Sassy Princess? And if
it
it's
all
not
depends
her,
on where you are in the other races,
if you have 3 singles or something, that's why it intrigues me. It doesn't work for me, but it intrigues me as a mental exercise.
I will say I found it really interesting, and I'll tell people to go check it out. Daily Racing Forum put together some videos on various topics. I think there were 4 of them: trainers and jockeys and betting strategies and whatnot, with Mike Bear and David Aragona. And one of them,
I know what you're going to say.
They started talking about they've changed their strategies recently or maybe not that recently, but they used to look more at the pick plays. And Mike Beer in particular said, I just realized I'm putting a lot of my budget into these pick plays, and I wasn't hitting as many as I wanted to because it's a tough game now. And so he's tried to focus a little bit more. And I started thinking, you know what, that's intriguing, because I played a lot of picks as well, but I've kind of started to get back to exactas, and if you get the right price, win and place.
I love Mike Beer's work. He looked like that was a painful one to do, because he was so right how hard it is. The little fish don't seem to be around as much anymore, the CAWs, the CRWs. But what I did like for the player out there, he was talking about, this is where I thought you were going to go, the ticket maker that they have on their site.
That was very interesting. When he said
like,
it was like,
it needs adjustment, because he's 100% right. And I'm sure Steve and Chris would agree that the $1 ticket, boy, you talk about adjusting for inflation. A $2 ticket versus in the Pick Six in 1991 would probably be about a $4 ticket. And we went the other way. So in real money, it's about 1/4 the cost. And he spoke to that. You should hit on him.
He said that the ticket maker is a Steve Chris kind of invention.
It is.
To address the $2 Pick Six. Yeah. And it's just that a 50-cent Pick Five is kind of a different animal.
Completely different animal. We'll take our final break. When we come back, the late Pick 3.
Want to get your career in horse racing off to a fast start? Well, the University of Arizona's Racetrack Industry Program is your winning ticket. The Racetrack Industry Program has served as a springboard to some of the industry's most successful individuals, with a proven track record of job placement right out of college. If you want to earn a degree in the exciting horse racing industry, the Racetrack Industry Program can put you in the winner's circle.
For more than 4 generations, Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued the 103-year tradition of delighting their local following and faithful summer crowd with the finest authentic Italian recipes. Classic Italian dishes made with the freshest ingredients, served in a home-like setting. Some things have changed in the last 103 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
Sometimes it pays to go with the flow, to check your worries at the door, to reconnect with your crew, to follow the thrills and the flavor, to roll with it and see where it takes you, to enjoy every minute to its fullest, and to dance like there's no tomorrow. You can do that here at Rivers Casino and Resort Schenectady, where the good times flow.
Which, by the way, I forgot one other thing. It's not nearly as important as the thing as I mentioned, but that man, Craig Milkowski, is an original Oklahoma City Thunder guy.
We'll hit on that.
Just a quick story for me in the Oklahoma City Thunder. I was doing my radio sports talk show on the day that they were going to announce the team's colors and the nickname. And I said to my board op, I said, if they choose colors and a nickname that I like, they'll be my second favorite team. And they did, and they are. But nowhere near. Not only is he a fan, like if anybody couldn't make NBA TV and they needed someone to fill in, just call Craig. He'll just serve it.
Yeah.
The late Pick 3. The reason I stuttered before was I don't usually get to race 7 and not see Pick 4 or Pick 5, but 7 furlongs, 3-year-olds and up, open company, maiden special weight.
Well, get over there in the press box on some long afternoon and have the announcer say, "Yeah, the 8th race, we're kicking off the Pick 5." You're like, oh. Not that I don't love it, but it's just you get to the end of the week.
Our point of reference is so different.
Yeah.
Our point of reference is.
I have a 2, 1, 3, and 4. Tap into this on top for Steve Asmussen, Flavian Pratt on board. Race the last time at Churchill was pretty good, but those 2 Oaklawn races kind of stand out, certainly number-wise. Beaten favorite last time. I'll give this one another look. Duration for Chad Brown and Klarovich comes in off a series of improving numbers, and maybe off the latest number is going to wind up to be the one to beat. I like the cutback. there's plenty to like there. And as I say, might wind up kicking myself that I didn't use that one higher. And Mainstream is actually the morning line favorite. Brad Cox runner also coming in with a couple of solid numbers in the past 2 starts, including the last one right here at Saratoga, that are going to make this one tough. Nice little competitive event on the top end, at least. I have a 2-1, 3, and 4.
I didn't even think you're an NBA guy to know about his things. But just a quick thing. I'm 1-5-3 here. I threw the 5 in, splitting the top 2. But on the other side of the ledger for horizontals, in my opinion, right, you take the 1-3, you move on. Right? I mean, I think this is the opposite.
I like
this. So 1-5-3. Right. Yeah, good point.
I'm not a big NBA guy
because
of the shot clock. It's just like there's not enough defense. Okay. You can tune in. You can tune in halfway through the fourth quarter, and once 120 to 120, it's like,
you're probably one of those guys that still thinks it's a 10-second line too, right? But you have to get the ball over 8 seconds now.
Is it? Oh,
well, yeah, see, exactly.
No,
exactly.
I did not know.
I know. You're taking shots at the
I love college basketball, though, but it's a slightly different game. 8 this afternoon.
Yeah, all of them in the NBA can play. That's the difference. That's the difference.
8 at Saratoga. Starter allowance, 9 furlongs to the trip.
I'm hoping Seth has a feel for this because I didn't, and I took a horse that I'm kind of comfortable with. I get the bad post position, 9-3-4. I'm on the outside. I don't see an opportunity for the 45-degree angle over. But My Noble Knight for Tom Amos had a couple wins at Oaklawn, raced well at Churchill Downs. He's a major player, but he's parked outside. That is a real consideration going 9 at Saratoga on the dirt. Catch the Smoke is my second choice. He's a major player, and he's down inside at a big price with Dylan Davis and Systemic Change, 9-3-4 in the 8th. Now, here's two things. The pick 6, people denied me. The pick 6 failed. They broke it down, brought it back. Do you remember when it was races 3 through 8, though?
Yeah.
Okay.
It wound up before the final race.
Yeah, it was not in the trifecta race.
This is my dark horse play of the day, and when Steve Bick put out his DePaul play of the day, I was thrilled because we overlap. I don't know if that's ever happened, but 4, 5, 8, and 7 for me in my dark horse play of the day. Brought to you by the Dark Horse Mercantile and Impressions of Saratoga, both on Broadway and Saratoga. Highly recommended to stop on by, browse through, tell them you saw them here on OTB TV. I think we'll get Marianne and Maddie in here.
Very nice.
Maybe next week, and we're talking about maybe having the mini horse upset out here right behind us, and we'll announce his upset there. Trademark mini horse has like a whole summer schedule to meet people. But anyway, our dark horse play today, number 4, Systemic Change, going out for Steve Asmussen, Irad Ortiz on board. I think on the numbers, there are a couple others in here that have the edge. But I just think this one's coming in a fashion that I feel like is set up for a good performance. Irad Ortiz, as I said earlier, has been bringing some horses in at a little bit of a price. For Irad, a little bit of a price. This one's 8-1 on the morning line, but I think fits. And if you go down the page, there are numbers that clearly match up with this bunch. Last couple of numbers are moving in the right direction. I think the mile and an 8th might hit this one square between the eyes. We'll see. But at the price, Irad, Steve Asmussen, I'm willing to take a little bit of a shot in a race where, as I say, some of them have maybe a little bit better numbers, but I don't think they jump off the page as superstars. So the dark horse play of the day for this Wednesday, race number 8, horse number 4, Systemic Change. Second spot, Alternate Reality, off a nice try last time here on Belmont Stakes weekend, a near-miss effort that showed ability over the surface. And then Gilmore in the 3rd spot. Nice win 2 back, nice second last time. Joe Sharp, those are both down at Churchill. Likely to be a player today off of those 2 improving efforts, improving number-wise. So in the 8th, 4, 5, 8, and 7.
And the finale, one of the great people in the New York bred program, the Susie O'Kane.
5, 9, 7, and 10. I'll put number 5, Charlotte's Heart, on top. This is a sibling to our friend Lee Einseidler's really nice turf star, Casa Creed, and hasn't necessarily lived up to that, but the career so far has shown some promise, no question about it. I like 3rd start back, getting back to the turf, stretching out. I think this one could be interesting. And given what we've seen so far in the career, a little bit of a mixed bag. I think, 9-2, and I think some value will hold up. So Charlotte's Heart on top, Disco Star in the second spot, the Turf Stake 2 back kind of touts this one as playable as another Mark Casse runner, and Marvelous Madison, lightly raced, but Turf Stake last time tossed a decent number. I think you get some value here on the Mott horse, but being lightly raced, I think there's some upside potential that might get lived up to today. 9th, the Susie O'Kane, 5, 9, 7, and 10.
We have 6 of the 10 in the main body covered, which I think is a true indicator, because I like She's Artiz at a price in here, making the 3rd start of the year. I'm very happy. Second time Lasix. I think the race is wide open. I have Trail of Gold for David Donk. Wins the 1X. Now tries Stakes Company is the 3-year-old. And then Mommy's Turn, Chad Brown's runner, making the 3rd start of the year. 2 good turf efforts. I think it's a terrific end of the day on a 9-race card.
All right, let me just hit on the promos once again. Today, Clubhouse Racebook prize wheel. Go down, have a little extra fun, see if you can get selected, and spin the prize wheel. And if you spin it, get the big prize on the board. That not only makes you happy, the whole crowd gets juiced up there. But prize wheel today, Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue in Albany. Same spot that tomorrow. It's the Play the Board contest. Friday, it's $100 win-a-bet at the Clubhouse Racebook. So lots coming up at the Racebook this week. And Friday is also Del Mar opening day. And I was going to say the Bonnie Bet, but no, let me shift to Saturday. Because, again, the Bonnie Bet is on Saturday now. So Saturday, Clubhouse Racebook, King of the Hill contest. But Saturday, again, keep that in mind. It caught me off guard again because it's been Friday for so long. But over the past couple of weeks, I think people have gotten into the rhythm. Saturday is now the Bounty Bet up here, Lake Pick 5 at Saratoga. So keep that in mind as well. Top of the hour, we're just a few minutes away. He's in the green room. Craig Milkowski from Timeform. We'll talk to him a little bit later on. Joe Clancy from the Saratoga Special. And we're kicking off things steeplechase-wise here. So we'll be joined also by Bill Gallo from the National Steeplechase Association. All just in a couple minutes.
Our family is season ticket holders to the Rams, and they say they sent me a part of the turf when they won the Super Bowl. I wonder if he gets a piece of the hardwood as a season ticket holder. Stay tuned. It'll be the best 15 or 18 minutes you get all summer when Craig steps in, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy your 9 races.
This has been the Handicappers Report, brought to you by CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier online wagering site in New York State. CapitalOTBBet.com. Sign up today. And the Clubhouse Racebook, 7